The president and first lady are in Texas right now, touring the devastation left behind from deadly flooding. Thanks for joining us today on Spin Room. I'm Vanessa Broussard. You can see the footage right now. President Trump and Melania departing to head to Texas and then also arriving in Texas. Any minute now, they will be holding a roundtable discussion with first responders. It's a Texas-sized heartache for so many families, bringing their loved ones home, preparing for burial after the deadly flood swept through central Texas over the Independence Day holiday. President Trump and First Lady Melania are touring that devastation now. Again, a roundtable discussion any minute scheduled on Lindell TV. We'll bring you that coverage when it's available. And as we wait for that, let's go to White House correspondent Kara Castronova. Kara, the heartache is unbearable. I know you've been following this as well as much of the country. It's just devastating to see. I know the president wanted to go earlier on, but he talked to first responders there, and they said that it was just too soon as they tried to conduct their rescue efforts, and so he was able to go today. So what do you know about the president's visit today? And if we have Kara,
well, I can't hear you, Vanessa. We seem to be having some technical difficulties. I'm not sure if you could hear me right now, but I can't hear you, unfortunately. So we're trying to resolve that on our end. Again, not sure if you could hear me right now, but we might have to come back to this segment in a few minutes just because we're having a hard time with the audio.
That's fine. Yes, we can hear you, but since you can't hear us, that is okay.
Vanessa, I can't hear you right now. I can't hear you.
Okay.
I don't know why.
If we can cut from Kara and we'll just, again, wait for this roundtable to begin shortly. And showing you some more of that video. Over 100 lives have been lost. It's very devastating. A lot of heartbreak over the Independence Day holiday. Families rushing to Central Texas. So many girls were at Camp Mystic when this flooding occurred. The counselors there, the director there tried to save these girls, and they were able to save a lot of them. But unfortunately, a lot of those young girls passed away in the floodwaters. The director of Camp Mystic passed away. And we've had first responders from all over the country come out and try to rescue people, but it's become a search, and the search and rescue is now people just going by the smell, we're being told, of deceased bodies, and that's how they're finding bodies right now. So they're not rescuing anybody who's alive anymore. Unfortunately, it's the bodies of these people. The San Marcos area also devastated in the flooding. Over the weekend, parts of the city were having to be evacuated. I know there are small islands around the Guadalupe River, bridges that connect to the islands completely underwater, so people were stranded on those islands until the water started receding. It's just a horrific situation there. Again, President Trump is there right now. He will be meeting with officials here any moment for a roundtable, and we'll bring that to you when it becomes available. So we'll try to get Kara as well, who's been following this story, and bring you the very latest. In breaking news regarding Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi, we want to show you that there are reports of something going on at the White House between the two. Breaking news just coming in late this afternoon that FBI Director the Assistant Deputy Director, Dan Bongino, sparking resignation rumors amid the Epstein fallout case. Bongino took off the day today after sources say there was a clash between him and Pam Bondi over the abrupt closure of the Epstein case. Americans, they're not happy with the news. As you know, that the Epstein case is closed. That hasn't been good news for the Trump administration this week when they had the announcement that they were closing the case and there was nothing to be seen to distribute to the American people. And we're told from sources that Dan Bongino had a falling out with Pam Bondi. Those are just sources telling us that right now. But when you talk to the White House, they say everything's good. They're denying Bongino's departure, but insiders say there's rising tensions between the DOJ and the FBI. And so as we continue to get word on what's happening there, we'll definitely let you know. Now to our Maha Moms segment. Great news for moms out there who are wanting to make sure that their kids are eating healthy. We are going to take you to Oklahoma, where there is a big, huge warehouse just for healthy food, healthy eating, and moms are taking it amongst themselves to make sure that this food is distributed to children to make sure they're eating right. Take a look.
Hey, how are you? Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS Secretary. I'm here with Chris Choi, who's the CEO of Mom's Meals. We're here in Oklahoma. We've just toured this extraordinary facility that can produce 1 million meals a day.
Each ingredient is plated into the tray.
They have facilities all over the country now that produce 75 million meals a year, or 600,000, mainly elderly or Americans who are afflicted with chronic disease. And it gives them meals without additives, without trans fats, without chemical products or dyes or any of the ingredients and preservatives we're trying to get out of food. The cost of these meals is about $7, and they can reach every area of the country, including food deserts in urban areas, super rural areas, or on the Indian reservations.
We use state-of-the-art horizontal cooker.
It was an incredible honor hosting Secretary Kennedy. We have long believed that nutrition plays a critical role in combating chronic disease, and we are working every day to ensure that more Americans have access to the nutrition they need to live healthier lives.
And so this is really one of the solutions for making our country healthy again. And Chris, I want to thank you for all of the work you've done into imagining this and then making it happen. Thank you, Chris.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And I love those programs for kids put on by moms. Again, you saw Robert F. Kennedy Jr. recently touring that facility in Oklahoma. That's Mom's Meals, and they fight for better health, and they believe food should be accessible to all. And you can learn more at momsmeals.com. Again, that's momsmeals.com. And if you are a mother, part of an organization that you would like to showcase, make sure you send me a message on social media, and we will make sure we showcase that because we want our children to be healthy. I believe we have Kara Castronova now live in Washington, D.C. to talk about the devastation in Texas, where President Trump and First Lady Melania are touring right now. Kara, what can you tell us?
Yes, Vanessa, as you showed that footage earlier, and if you could roll some of that, the president arrived about 2 hours ago there in Central Texas with Melania Trump to meet with, obviously, the Texas residents, families of the girls that were killed, sadly, in the flood, and do a roundtable with local officials. So stay tuned for that. Some interesting stuff should come out of there. A lot of interesting things coming out in general about the flood, as you mentioned earlier in the show. But there was a soundbite that I wanted to share of a Texas resident that's making the rounds on social media and just in general acknowledging President Trump and how grateful the Texas residents down there are that President Trump and Melania made the trip. If you guys could play, I believe it's SOT and it's labeled as number 4. Texas resident on POTUS's visit, talking about the devastation of the flood and how he's supporting the people there and sending whatever he can. I guess while we're waiting for that clip, we could also talk, Vanessa, about the everything going on with geoengineering. Do I still have you, Vanessa? Vanessa?
I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if we were still having technical difficulties at the White House today. I'm so sorry about that. I guess we don't have that B-roll of that clip, but I would encourage people to go on Rapid Response and check that out of the Texas residents. Just so happy that President Trump is there today, showing that he cares. A lot of good comments on that post. But moving the subject, which isn't a far move, over to EPA Lee Zeldin, really sparking the conversation this week in the midst of all of this flooding about geoengineering and cloud seeding. We have a SOT of EPA Lee Zeldin, if you guys could pull that one up, talking about how this government, this EPA agency is going to be very transparent and forthcoming when it comes to whatever the government knows on geoengineering, cloud seeding, contrails, chemtrails, and everything like that, which is surprising. People are saying that this came out this week of the flood. Is it a coincidence or not? Here is Lee Zeldin talking about geoengineering and transparency regarding the EPA.
Concerned Americans have urgent and important questions about geoengineering and contrails. The American public deserves and expects honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. But for years, people who asked questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own government. That era is over. The Trump EPA is committed to total transparency. As a result, I tasked my team at EPA to compile a list of everything we know about contrails and geoengineering for the purpose of releasing it to you now publicly. In other words, I want you to know everything I know about these topics and without any exception. Instead of simply dismissing these questions and concerns as baseless conspiracies, we're meeting them head on. We did the legwork, looked at the science, consulted agency experts, and pulled in relevant outside information to put these online resources together. Everything we know about contrails to solar geoengineering will be in there. That means
So that was just a clip, Vanessa, of Secretary Lee Zeldin talking about transparency regarding geoengineering. And if you guys could pull up that website, epa.gov, I would really encourage anybody watching to go check out this release of documents. I have not gotten a chance to really look at them myself. I did skim through them today, so I'm going to withhold judgment on if they're releasing anything that is actually different or interesting. But the EPA is releasing new online resources, giving Americans total transparency on the issues of geoengineering and contrails. And there's a link at the bottom that people could click on called the Geoengineering and Information on Contrails from Aircraft Online Resources, which is, according to Lee Zeldin, all of the information that the government has on these things. So it should be interesting to see if this is actually information that is of interest, or is it sort of like the Epstein files where it's a nothing burger. I don't know, Vanessa. I'm going to check them out myself, and I would encourage everyone to do so. But I do trust Lee Zeldin. I do know him personally, and he's a good guy. And I think he's doing a fantastic job over there at the EPA. A lot of work behind the scenes on fighting for the environment and obviously exposing the climate change scam that a lot of Americans are frustrated with at this point. So the Gateway Pundit really put out a great article. I would suggest anybody also interested in the subject matter going on the Gateway Pundit, if you guys could pull that article up, go on thegatewaypundit.com. Again, talking about Director Lee Zeldin and releasing everything the government knows after it was revealed that cloud seeding occurred 2 days before Texas flood. So American people really just asking so many questions after Augustus Dorico, the CEO of Rainmaker, which is a weather modification company, revealed that planes had released silver iodine in the atmosphere in Texas 2 days prior to the fatal floods that have claimed, now it might be 300 lives because 170 people are missing, and I believe it's 121 that have been confirmed as dead. And according to Lee Zeldin, they're committed to total transparency, and that the American public will know everything that he knows about these topics without exception. So looking forward to checking out these documents, Vanessa. And, obviously the mainstream media criticizing. There was an article in Axios where it's saying the Trump EP wades into weather modification debate and sort of alluding to the fact that it's wading into quote unquote conspiracy theory. So I guess the mainstream media not happy with the fact that weather modification and geoengineering has become a conversation again, like the way it was last year after all of that flooding in the Appalachians. So that is really interesting news, and we'll keep on top of this story, Vanessa. And then I'm sure a lot of people saw that clip out there. If you haven't, check it out. We'll play it for you. That one with Senator Fetterman breaking from his party when it comes to ICE and the necessity of ICE and how they're just doing their jobs, really condemning the attacks on ICE. Please check out this sound from Senator Fetterman on ICE.
Absolutely unacceptable, terrible, awful. ICE agents are just doing their job, and I fully support that. And for me and people in my party might want to abolish it or treat them as criminals or anything that's inappropriate and outrageous. ICE performs an important job for our nation.
So that was Senator Fetterman breaking from his party, who have become so radical when it comes to all of this stuff with ICE and actually encouraging violence by using crazy rhetoric, referring to ICE individuals as Nazis and really just encouraging people to try to kill them, which is very sad. A lot coming out over the past day about this marijuana facility that was raided. A lot of imagery coming out of there. If you guys could cue up that SOT of that raid on that farm. Democrats were calling it at first a strawberry farm, a produce farm, saying that these illegals were a critical part of the supply of our food chain, when it turns out this was actually a marijuana farm. If you could check out that footage there, that was shared by numerous Democrats condemning this ICE raid, this Ventura County field ICE raid, and they were saying that they are hauling away the very farm workers who keep America's produce aisles stocked. And then Rapid Response, which is a White House run Twitter account, wrote, "It's a marijuana facility. What do we do without illegals to pick our weed? Moron." So I guess, again, a very interesting response there, obviously, from the White House. Rapid Response literally calling out these people for misinforming the public and calling this facility a produce farm when in actuality it's a marijuana farm. And another funny one from Stephen Chung, if you guys could pull that one up. Stephen Chung, who is right there, I could look at his office about 50 feet away from me through his window. He is the director of communications here at the White House, and he put out something funny today in response to Representative Jimmy Gomez, again, lamenting about this quote unquote strawberry field and the gang members and whatnot, picking strawberries. Stephen Chung said Jimmy Gomez must be getting high off that strawberry kush because this is a weed farm found to have exploited juveniles here illegally. So that was, again, another White House response, sort of in the tone, very Trumpian, funny, and just really kind of poking fun at the whole situation. It's actually a very sad situation when you have juveniles involved and exploiting them for labor. It's very sad, but it's really comical how Democrats continue to twist stories, how liberals continue to paint narratives in the way that they see fit and just continue to misinform the public. Vanessa.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me that, we talked about this just this week, Kara, how they have come up with this plan to melt ICE. That is the Democrat plan. Poor marketing on their part. They tried to get clever with it with a new act to melt ICE, get rid of ICE, and stop what they're doing. But you had all of these illegals in this one marijuana farm. They say that they're, the Democrats are saying that they were there producing food for the American people. How will Americans eat now? All these things, but we'll still be able to eat. One, that's not the only farm. If it was truly a farm where they were growing food and vegetables, but two, you have illegals there and marijuana there. It's illegal, and so there's so many things in one spot that's against the law. And then you have Fetterman, who came on board, Kara, as the MAGA movement, the conservatives, the Republicans were saying, "Oh boy, this is as nutty as they get." But yet he's starting to side more and more with the Republicans. Why? It's just common sense. And the left has lost common sense. And so when you have Fetterman coming out more and more, and the latest is what you just showed, saying that we need ICE. They are the good guys in this scenario. And so I think he's starting to lean, Kara, a little bit to the Republican side. And there's a lot of speculation from other people as well that he is. What are your thoughts?
Definitely a lot of people saying, that obviously Fetterman, I don't think he'll ever run as a Republican, Vanessa, but really surprising, I guess a pleasant surprise for a lot of people in Washington, D.C. and a lot of voters, really, to see a Democrat that actually has the nerve to break away from his party. I'm not saying Fetterman's perfect in all his beliefs, but who is, really? But he has really been able to distinguish himself as a senator who's not afraid to break away from his party. And there are a couple House members, specifically from my district in New York, believe it or not, who are also speaking out against Democrats and their extreme measures. I'm not going to name their names because I still will not support them because they are so bad on so many other issues. But they are, it's seemingly trending that there are a lot of Democrats that are more moderate, that are actually more common sense, it seems. Thank God this is happening because the party seems to be swinging so far left that it's almost cringe. Like people just are not supporting Democrats anymore. And I think they're realizing now that in order to stay in office, they need to start moderating their views, becoming more moderate and more common sense, like you mentioned.
Right, and we'll continue to watch what's going on with ICE. Again, like Fetterman said, like we've been saying all along, I have a busted segment here on Spin Room almost daily where I show the illegals that are being rounded up across the country. They're the good guys, and so you have Gavin Newsom who's trying to portray ICE as the bad guys, but we all know the truth there. Real quick, Kara, as we're still waiting for President Trump to host that roundtable in Texas, talking about the weather modifications, the speculations on that. They've come out and said this didn't happen. These weather experts are saying that this didn't happen. Of course they're going to say that because they have blood on their hands if this is in fact the case. And so I know for a fact once this is all said and done and the rescue efforts are over, there's going to be some lawsuits here. There's going to be an investigation into this if that were the case.
Hopefully there is, Vanessa, and it's about time because this has gone unregulated. I call it the Wild West of the skies when it comes to cloud seeding. I did a story on this for the Gateway Pundit last year after all the flooding last year during President Trump's election, where Kamala Harris didn't even go visit. But from what I understand, even weathermen and weatherwomen who work for the mainstream media don't even know when cloud seeding occurs, which is just mind-boggling to me because obviously it's their job to report when it's going to rain or not. And, I thought that was interesting, that really doesn't seem to be a lot of regulation when it comes to geoengineering, when it comes to solar dust, which people need to Google and look that up. It's something that Bill Gates is doing and still pushing to spread dust to block the sun because of quote-unquote global warming. It's very toxic for the soil, very toxic for the food, obviously. It's not healthy to go into water. So it's all of these things happening, and maybe finally we'll have some answers. I'm hoping that the government even knows the answers because a lot of these operations are very covert operations, obviously. So hopefully Lee Zeldin will get to the bottom of this. Maybe there does need to be some DOJ pushes. Today, Robert Kennedy Jr., who's been really someone at the forefront of fighting geoengineering, really gave some accolades to Secretary Zeldin, really thanking him for, again, releasing these documents and continuing to fight against these very nefarious people that want to play God and modify the weather, Vanessa.
Right. Yep. You're going against Mother Nature and God, and that's just not going to work. All right, Kara, we'll continue to follow that as well. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Well, this weekend marks an important anniversary in our nation's history. The shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania 1 year ago. Details on a Lindell TV anniversary exclusive. That's coming up next. Stay with us.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nervanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nervanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nervanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at NirvantaHealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nervanta instead and experience the difference. Go to NirvantaHealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nervanta Health. Live well naturally.
It was a day that changed history, and a small town called Butler, Pennsylvania, became a town that was known around the nation.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Breaking news coming in. Shots fired. Seems to be shots fired at the Trump rally.
1 year after the attempted assassination of President Trump at that campaign rally, the memories remain vivid. From the initial shock to the strength of a community that came together in the aftermath, we're taking a closer look. Take a listen. Those are crowd shots of the return to Butler when President Trump went back just a couple of months later. Our special coverage, Trump targeted Butler 1 year later. A nation watched, a leader stood tall. That airs tomorrow at noon Eastern right here on Lindell TV. Hear from eyewitnesses as President Trump fought on through the 2024 election. Only on Lindell TV, so make sure you tune into that. That's tomorrow at noon Eastern. Our Bible verse of the day comes from the book of Philippians. It says this: "For it is God who is at work in you, both to will and to work for his good pleasure." And that is chapter 2, verse 13. And as we end the show, a reminder to support Mike Lindell. You can go to mypillowtrial.com, or you can go to givesendgo.com/Lindell. Every dollar helps. He has 2 weeks to raise $400,000 in his appeal case, and that process stemming from the Colorado case. Again, mypillowtrial.com. The deep state is wanting to silence him, but with your help, Mike Lindell will never be silenced. He has helped so many people, continues to do so. So now it's our turn to help him. Please make a donation today if you can. And a programming note as we end the show: Spin Room will air at a different time starting on Monday. You can catch me here on Lindell TV from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. So mark your calendars. The show time is changing. Again, that's starting Monday. So enjoy the weekend. Join me on Monday here on Lindell TV for Spin Room at 4 p.m. Eastern. And that'll do it for us here today on Spin Room. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, America.